Hello and welcome to Placing Talent with Physemp. This is episode 3. I'm Paul Strubel, I'm your host of Placing Talent, and today we're going to be answering a question that we get asked often. And that is specifically, once I post my job to Physemp, what happens to that job? So we're going to cover that and talk about the many ways that Physemp advertises your opportunity and then also markets your opportunity to people who are specifically looking for those types of jobs. So first and foremost, whether you're posting your job to Physemp as an individual post through an XML feed or through, let's say we're scraping your service and posting your jobs there, no matter how your job is getting to us, once we get it, we put it on our website. That's the first step in the process, and it's not an insignificant one. We have about 8 to 10% direct traffic on our job visibility. So there are a lot of people through 30 years in this industry who have developed a relationship with us who come to the site directly to do their job search. They have that in their browser, whatever, and they come in and they look for the latest opportunities in their field, in their locations. So that's the first step. The second step is that then we take the jobs and we start to push them out through marketing and advertising services. The first of which is going to be, let's call it the SEO side of things. Once it goes on our site, we start to take those jobs and we get them out into the world, into what you might find in a Google search, a Yahoo search, a Bing search. We covered the parameters of what makes a great job in 2024 in episode 2 of this series, so you can circle back and watch that one if you really want to know the best way to get the most out of your SEO coverage right now. But we'll just kind of leave it at that for this video. If properly formatted though, the job will appear in the Google Jobs box near me and get pushed out to our various aggregators. Now, what aggregators are we using? Now, this is a question that does come up often. Who's my job gonna go to once I post it with your site? Well, the reality is that's a very difficult question for us to answer. And the reason for that is because we use a complex algorithm to basically revisit different aggregators, different websites that we might push the content to on a very regular basis, which means we're getting real-time feedback about what specialties, what locations are doing well, and the way that the jobs are being viewed, being seen, and we are able to put more money behind those jobs and take money away from ones that aren't performing in certain areas on certain aggregators. Now, which aggregators do we use? Generally speaking, this is a tough question to answer, but there are many services that we employ to help us spread jobs around the internet for visibility through search traffic. They are services like ZipRecruiter, like Adzuna. We often have used those in the past, but we don't necessarily use them all the time. There's a big reason for that. We use a lot of these different services, and we are constantly evaluating how well these services are performing and adding more or subtracting from them depending on what kind of traffic we're able to generate through these aggregators. The aggregators sprout up, they disappear, they also create new websites and new ways to manifest traffic. So we constantly watch that, and we're looking for feedback on what kind of productivity they're giving us. So while it might be important for a service to know, like if you really, really want your jobs to appear on ZipRecruiter, for example, that's a service that we use, but we don't necessarily guarantee that it'll be there because sometimes that traffic isn't producing in the way that we hoped. Now, there's a tangential benefit to the way that we operate that also is very productive. And that's basically getting us a variety of eyeballs. If we were to commit to a certain package, let's say, and we were to say concretely, here are the websites that we repost to, what happens is that people will basically over time, we'll start to see the same views on our jobs from the same sources. So what that means is we're not bringing new eyeballs onto the jobs because of the way that the search engines operate. They're going to keep showing the same people the same jobs over and over, and we're not getting in front of new eyeballs. Our goal is to get your job in front of as many individuals as possible. So that's why we take this approach, and that's why we like to have hefty control over it, if you will, and we're constantly evaluating how to get the most out of the aggregators, watching them change, watching them tailor their approach to what we're doing, and then adjusting on the fly to get the most out of it. So that's the long form answer about, I don't actually know where the jobs are going, but what we do know is how the aggregators work. We send it to an aggregator that we're feeling good about at any given time. They create a number of sites that sort of act like, if you will, pollinators. They spread it around to up to 80, 100 different websites. And then when somebody says, hey, I'm interested in a cardiology opportunity in Houston, Texas, well, then that job that you've sent Physemp for cardiology in Houston, that job is on our site and it's on all the different aggregators that we're going to use as we're looking around to the different aggregators about which ones to use. We're seeing which ones are getting the most out of that traffic. So sorry about the sirens there, but we'll keep rolling through it. So on top of that, we want to make sure that we're not hitting the same market each time. I kind of covered that a little bit. But in addition, there's another thing that's happening when you give us a job, and that's our internal outreach programs. Now, these are very powerful tools, and it's one of the things that we're really proud about because we feel like we do it very, very well. When you send Physemp a job, and we'll stick with that model of cardiology in Houston, if your job is looking for a cardiologist in Houston, two things happen with our matching system. The first of which is the matching system will automatically send you all of the candidates who have applied to a cardiology job in Houston within the last 30 days. These are very warm leads. You know these people are actively looking and they meet the criteria for your job. Those people would be the same ones that you would find in the last 30 days in our database. So they get sent to you on a public basis. Now, this is also going the other way. Our marketing outreach programs, we have all the physicians in our database who are interested in cardiology in Texas. They're going to receive a marketing email from us, and it says, here's a new opportunity that's just been posted for the specialty and the location that you're interested in. Why is this so important? Well, these emails have been requested by that physician. So it becomes very important. We see the outreach, we see the open rate on these emails are above 45%. Now that's significant because if you as an individual at a firm or a company were to send an individual physician an email, which would be considered quote unquote a spam email, it's not a source that they're familiar with, the open rate on those is about 8%, sometimes as low as 6%. And they're not even actually gonna look at it that much because they don't know who it is once they do open it. They've requested these emails from us. They're interested in hearing about new opportunities. So based on the specialty, based on the location, we're pushing emails to the people who are active in our database. We also have sub-levels of candidates beyond the database that we're sending these to as well. There's what you would call verified candidates who choose to be not a part of the database. So these are candidates who have come to us, we're able to verify them, but they've indicated to us, I want to hear about job emails, I want to hear about the jobs that are coming in, the newest opportunities, but I don't want a public facing profile. So those people, that's your kind of level 2 that are getting the emails sent to them about your opportunities. Now level 3 are going to be our non-verified, non-public candidates. You'd be surprised how many of these there are. The way our system operates, if we get a candidate that tries to enter our system, and let's say they have a very common name, Joe Smith as an example. Joe Smith might apply to a job for, let's say, plastic surgery in Beverly Hills. Now, we might go to our records, check the MPI database, we might try to figure out and verify that Joe is a real physician candidate that's active for this job. But with a name like Joe Smith, it becomes difficult for us to verify which one it is. We may find somebody whose name is very familiar, but they have a different specialty attached. We may find somebody that has their 30, 50, 60, 70 candidates with the same name, and we don't know which one it is. So while we do feel like these people are quality candidates, we can't be sure about who they are until they give us the green light to create a profile for them in the database. But we do know that those people are applying to similar opportunities. So that's your level 3 kind of outreach that we're getting, and that's a very large group. So we've seen, our marketing emails have tremendous effect. The open rate is very high, and these are very powerful tools that we're marketing your jobs for you, so to speak. None of this has anything to do with SEO. This is all direct. So that's a service that Physemp provides when you post a job with Physemp. So in conclusion, we do what we think is best to get exposure on your jobs. We work very hard to get your jobs in front of the people who might actually be good candidates for them. And we're really focused on getting them in front of the most eyeballs. So that's essentially what happens when you post a job with Physemp. Hope that clears up any questions people might have. Stay tuned for episode 4 in a couple weeks. Thank you very much.